Well, hello everybody. It's Ronnie with Whip and Chain. I work alongside Maggie and Lauren, and today I truly want to talk about blocking projects, blocking the acrylic yarn projects, and I want to talk to you about some pros and some cons, and let's just get started. Anyway, what's in front of you, what you're looking at right now is the temperature blanket squares that we're working on. And this is, if I think of it right, this is my March, because I'm doing 2022. My March squares. It's hard for me to show you all the way I had the video set up, so I do apologize for that, and your camera's gonna jiggle a little bit when I move stuff. But as you can see, this square that I'm showing you right now, if I can find my tape measure, it is being blocked at approximately 13 by 13. Now, blocking is not a perfect science with getting exact measurements. It never has been that for me. But what it has been for me is the best thing I've ever done, because it allows my projects to look prettier, more uniform. The way they lay is more beautiful. Just so much. It's really good to do on certain projects. That's really what I want to stress here. There's some projects that just do not need to be blocked, but I just wanted to show you my actual temperature blanket for this month that is being blocked. There's the green over here. I think this is for the largest forest. There's the, I guess, a light tealish color. That's for the average temperature. And above these two squares, I'm not sure if you can, there we go. This is for this one down here, I think, is for the lows. This one's for the highs of the month. But that's all my colors. I'm just trying to let you be able to see it. So now I'm going to take this off. So excuse the rumbling and the mumbling. I'm still trying to figure out how to block. Well, not block. Sorry. How to be able to use this camera to show big projects. So I am truly working on that. But let's start from the beginning, shall we? Blocking board. Now, some people say they can't afford these, which is really okay. You can make your own. But I think it's a pack of 6, or maybe it's a pack of 9. This personally, I bought off of Amazon, and I bought one at Joann's, and they're under $10 for a pack. That's what I paid. And as you can see, it's just a thick styrofoam. It's very, and it has the interchanging so you can hook a bunch of them together. And the pins that I use, that's also something really big to talk about. The pins that I use they don't rust. You need pins that don't rust. And the purpose of that is when you block your project, you have to wet down your project. And obviously the pins are going to get wet, and you don't want them rusting. That's really important, because if these rust, they can actually mark your project. This is another square. This is for April. I'm not sure if this is the high or low. My guess, it's for the high, but without my paperwork here telling me. But because when you pin them, if I can grab a pin, you pin them and you spray them, they're going to get wet, and the pin is touching your acrylic yarn, and it will bleed through. You will have rust marks. I guarantee you, you will. So make sure you buy your pins. I use these, I call them T's, because they're shaped like a T. They're easier for me to grab and hold on to and then remove. And I'm just using, this was an old Tupperware container that we had with the lid. You can use any container. I do recommend a lid that really snaps on tight, because if it opens and they get everywhere, you could accidentally step on them. One of your furry friends in the house could step on it, or even try to chew one. Just so many bad things can happen. So I do suggest that you keep these in a pretty good container. Okay, now one of the other things of blocking that I really love is this project itself has a ton of weaving in ends. If you're doing this project with us, you know what I'm talking about. A lot of weave-ins, especially if you have different ranges of temperature each day and you have a different yarn each time. Some of these blocks, I feel like that's all I'm doing is weaving in ends. This particular block really didn't take a ton of weaving in ends, but that's really not the point I'm trying to prove. When you block and you stretch your project to the desired measurements that you need, and then after you spray it, when you block it, I personally feel it sets in your weaved in ends even better, as long as they're put in there mostly correct the first time around. So, and I wanted to show you how to block one, but I can't get a couple blocks on here and do it because, as you can see, my project's bigger than the block. But that was the other thing I wanted to talk to you about, where you put your pins and your pin placement. When you're setting up your project, if you put a pin right up in here, let me bring you in a little bit so you can see. If you put a pin in a very thin area in your project, and then you're trying to stretch it out to get to the desired length or width that you need, if you can see, it's going to stretch the yarn. It's going to make the project dry with these points that are in it, and you really don't want to do that. So what I do suggest is that you find the thicker parts as close to the edge as you can. But like here, this is where my 3 double crochets are in. So I'm actually going to put my pin in that way, and I always angle it to the edge. That way it's holding the project more of where you want it. So just try to put your pins in the thicker areas of your project, and with them being rust proof, when you remove them, nobody will know that you had a pin in there. But again, if you put them down here, it's just not going to work too well, because it's going to be wavy borders, and you don't want that. So the logistics of blocking, after you get your project blocked on your board to the width and the length and everything else that you need, the other thing is you need to spritz it, and you need to get the project not soaking wet. Not soaking wet. I take a bottle. This is the bottle that I use for my blocking. If I can, there we go. This is just a 99-cent dollar store water bottle, and I have it set on spray, not stream, and I spray the project. I don't want to spray this one because I don't have it set yet, but when you spray it, get it good, but don't soak it like it's dripping when you pick up your boards to move them to where you want them to dry. But after you spritz them, I'll do a little bit. If you spritz, the water's going to lay on top. I just slightly pat it down. And the other thing that's really important, I don't know the areas that everybody's watching this live in, but especially for people with hard water, or if you have water that you're using a water softener with, I do recommend that you get spring water for the bottles that you spray on here, because if there's any residue in the water, when this dries, you might be able to see some of it. There might be a light film left on it. So I highly recommend that you use spring water. That's just my suggestion. And the other thing is after you block these and you put them on the board and you spritz them, I do not lay towels on top. That's an invitation, especially if you leave the towel on too long. That's an invitation to mildew and just nasty stuff. So I do not lay anything on top of my projects. I spritz them good. I make sure I pat it down. Even if you want to use like a cloth so your hand isn't getting wet, that's fine. Just pat them down. And then no shorter than 3 days. That's my rule. Once they're blocked and they're spritzed, I put them in a room that's safe. So the animals like this is mine and my husband's crafting room. I put them in here, and as excited as I am to pull them off, I leave them on there for no shorter than 3 days, because even if it feels dry on the outside, the inside, the center of your yarn might need that just a little extra time to dry. So I've never had anything bad happen by taking it off earlier, but this works. It's a proven process that I've done for quite a while now. It works, and that's why I want to share it with you. It's a wonderful process. And when you do block your projects, you do not have to have them upside down to do it. You can have them right side up. It doesn't matter either. Either way, it's going to work. But I always have them right side up for me. And after it's dry, then you safely take out your pins, and your project is blocked, and it is ready to be whatever the next step is that you're working on, joined, finished, whatever you're working on. But anyway, so I feel blocking is important for especially projects like this, because when you make the squares and the squares are done, like if you can look at this one, it's a little off. See how this goes in a little bit? That could have meant my tension was off a little bit when I was crocheting it. See how this end rolls a tiny bit? Well, when it's blocked, it won't roll no more. It's those little things that matter to me. But that is how you block, and I love it. And I only use acrylic yarn with blocking. I have never dabbled in cotton yarn. I don't know if you can even block with cotton yarn. But if you guys have any questions about it, I will happily do the research, and I will report back to you what the best way to do it is. And thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I appreciate it so much. Have a wonderful day. Today is Eagles 49ers and Kansas City games, and Bengals, I think they play. Don't hold me that. So this house is what we call a divided house. I'm for the different teams that he's for. So it's going to be interesting. I wish you guys a wonderful day, and I hope this blocking video answered some questions. And come find us on Facebook. We are under WIP, W-I-P, and Chain. WIP stands for Work in Progress, and Maggie, Lauren, and myself, and Betty, and my two pups, Mumu and Mimi, we thank you for everything. And if this video is helpful, please hit that like and that subscribe button at the bottom. And if you hit the bell, you'll be notified every time a new video is released. Until next time, happy crocheting. Bye-bye for now.